There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. I'm Priscilla, Almqist-Olsen, your host. Today is June 28th, 2023, and I'm here in the History Room on Depot Street in South Easton. And the History Room is one of my favorite places because it has all the things that clutter my house. So I'm either going to open my own history room or more probably bring some of the items here for Anne and John DiSantos to sell. And you can do that too. So John, welcome. I understand your wife is playing the organ and singing at a funeral today, but we're going to catch her later in the studio. So welcome.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
John,
it's great to be in my own place with you.
Okay, and one of the things that you do that is an added plus to the business is to tune pianos. But first, let's talk about the origin of this wonderful place. When did you start it? How did it come about?
Okay, well, when we sold our music store, I sold it to I sold it to my competitor in 2008. I was just kind of getting tired of that type of work, and we always collected. We've been antiquers all our lives. So Ann says, let's do that. I thought she was kidding, but she wasn't. And so in 2012, we changed it to the History Room. So it's been here for, 11 years.
Okay, but you have been doing tuning pianos longer than that, right?
Yeah, a little bit long, not much long. I learned the art of tuning and rebuilding later in my life. I was like I was 50. Yeah, so it was like 2010 is when I did it. That's when I started doing it. Mm-hmm. So that's not 13 years. I'm 63. I was 50. And so I did it later in life.
To be 63 again.
Yeah, it's been so far so good.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so you people would just call this number. Now, what's the phone number here?
508-238-3376. That's
3376.
Yep,
okay.
That's the number.
And what's the email address?
The email address. I think that Ann does it on hers. I believe it's not anything that says History Room. I think it's DiSantos, DiSantom, DiSantom at AOL.com. We have the old AOL.
I see.
That's the one where she talks to a lot of her customers.
Okay.
DiSantom at AOL.com.
So one could either phone or email and get an appointment for a piano tuning.
Yeah.
And one could also call and you could ask, do you have the 1963 publication by the Boston Globe called Good Night, Brave Spirit about John F. Kennedy on the occasion of his assassination back in 1963? Do you have that? And how much would it be? So Anne would say, of course. When would you like to pick it up?
Of course we have. We do have a lot of Kennedy. In fact, you're sitting right in the heart of it.
And we're going to have a tour. So John is going to point out all the Kennedy memorabilia, lots of books, lots of newspaper articles, and so forth. And it just seems it's hard to believe that was so many years ago, but it was.
It was.
Okay, so what are your future plans, or haven't you thought ahead
Retirement.
Yet? Oh.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's like I'm not going to keep doing this forever. I'll be retiring. I don't know when, but that is my future plans. Right now, I just keep doing what I'm doing.
Okay, so everybody, if you want a good piano tuner, you better get.
No, tuning. I'll continue tuning till they get me under.
Oh,
Tuning keeps you young. Are you kidding me? No, I'll tune. I'll keep tuning. Running a business that's different. So
and keeping track of all the inventory.
that's what I mean.
But that's Anne, isn't it?
Well, we both
You both do it.
try.
Yeah.
But as both musicians, it's not our strength is doing that kind of work, but we do the best we can.
Now, you, I believe, are a drummer.
I am.
Do you play any other instruments?
No, I don't play piano very well, but people always say, "Oh, you sound great." After I tune the piano, I can fool them for like a couple minutes, and then I'm out of bullets. I got nothing left. I could play, and you'd think I'm a player, but I do the same thing wherever I go because that's all I know on the piano. But drummers, no, that's my instrument.
Great. Now, Anne's instrument is the piano.
Yes.
Keyboard. Anything else?
Singing. She's got a
her
great
voice.
Yeah.
Wonderful voice. And
Yeah.
many of you have heard her at the Memorial Day celebrations when she's always asked to sing. And she's been doing that for years.
Yeah, she's been doing that since before my son was born. He's 26. So I think she's been doing it I think she hit 30 years of doing that. She only missed 1 year. That was the year he was born. He was born on Memorial Day.
No.
Right, well, like the day before, like she couldn't go. She couldn't do the Memorial Day that year. That's the only year she missed.
Okay, well, we'll forgive her for that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, John, thank you so much. Now, you're going to give us a brief tour.
Okay.
And highlight some of the offerings here. One of the things that I found so interesting since the last time I've been here were all of the packaging together items, either in little tin containers or baskets or whatever, that had items that were related to each other. And I understand that Father's Day was a big hit here, and there were lots of packaged items that for dads, and Mother's Day too. So
yeah, Mother's Day was a big, and she makes a big deal. She works hard to do that. She packages it all herself and comes up with the concept of what would go together to put it together. So it's not like it came like that. She has to like put it all. And I like the one she had for the one guys. It was called Vices, and it had like smoke, cigars, a pin-up picture, and like all the vices and sold really fast.
It sold fast.
It sold fast, yeah.
Well, she should make up a few more.
Cigarettes. It had just, you name it. And a bottle of scotch. So that was the Vice package. That was my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of buying a bottle of wine when you're going to visit your friends or bring a plant, think about coming here and bringing a little packaged goods. Doesn't have to be Vices. It can be some early edition books and other things that are all packaged. And I noticed I saw one that I thought was great was from the Gilmore estate and in Easton, and it was I think Hard Times and I forget the other one. We can check it out. But with it was a handheld silver candle holder, just like when they would get up and have to go pee-pee in the night in the 18th century. What did they have? There was no electricity, no light bulbs to put on, but they had to light a candle, and the candle holder had to have a holder itself so that they could walk and hold this candle. And so she's got quite a few of those here. Anyway, okay, so we're going to wrap this up, but we're going to continue. John's going to give us a wonderful tour, and so keep your eyes peeled. Know what you're going to find here.
I still find things.
Thank you, John.
That I didn't know I had.
Okay, so here we are about to begin our tour of the History Room located on Depot Street, Southeastern Massachusetts. John DiSantos, who is the co-owner with his wife, Anne, is going to give us a little bit of history about the History Room.
Okay, well, first of all, this building is pre-Civil War. It was built in 1856. It was a VFW after it was a school. It was actually a school from 1856 to the turn of the century. It was a single room, one, teacher type of place where kids from, I guess, first grade to sixth grade were here. And there are some pictures at the, historical society that has pictures of this building
I
with
see.
the master. They call him, the headmaster. And it's kind of a creepy picture. There's one picture where he's just standing there. Looks like he's like 9 feet tall with all the little kids outside right out front there. So it's a cool, it has history as far as how old it is. It was a school. It was a VFW. It had a liquor license till 2 in the morning. There were some crazy parties here back in the day. That's what I was told. I wasn't around because that happened in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Oh, and then in the 50s, it became a doctor's office, and his name was Catwick. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but anyway, he was blind. He was a blind doctor, and he had quite a practice here. And then after that, it was what do you call it with little children?
Nursery.
Nursery, yeah. It was a nursery school, and
So how did you
by someone, I think her name was Anderson, who ran it. A woman who ran it and that was in like the 60s and 70s, and then we bought it in.
Oh, was that Rosemary?
Yes, that's
That would be Rosemary Sabin Anderson,
Oh, okay,
who
yeah.
graduated a year
So
behind
that's
me at Oliver Ames High School.
There you go. Yeah, that's everything it was, from the school to the VFW, doctor's office. Sorry. I think I'd know that, but I'm Italian. I talk with my hand. And then it was the nursery school, and then it was the music machine. We had that from 87 till 2008. And then it continued with someone else owning it till 2012, and now it's the history room. There. That's the history of the building. It's a great building. It's built like a fort. When you look at the beams downstairs, this ain't going nowhere. So
if
even
we
the
have
inspector said, they goes, look at the size of that timber. It's huge.
Yeah, so the hurricanes are no match for this building.
No. It's a really,
So here we are. We're standing in front of the counter here, and there's jewelry. And then maybe John, you could step aside here, and we could get a look here of all of the jewelry, and it's just amazing. Necklaces, bracelets. Joe, go around the corner if you would. Thank you. And you can see the prices are so reasonable. I just picked up a 1950s costume jewelry silver bracelet, and it was $6. And I thought, oh my God, on eBay, it would be many times that. So don't think it's going to cost you an arm and a leg when you come in here, because it isn't. You're going to find things that you love, and the prices, I'm sure, depend on whatever Anne and John purchased it for. And so they're very honest people. John and Anne are a great couple. Their personalities are fabulous. And so just to come and meet them is a joy in itself.
Yeah.
But for those of us who just love vintage stuff, this is an absolute magnificent oasis. And just come in here and check it out. And
Thank you, Priscilla. That's very kind of you.
Oh no, it's not. It's so easy to tell the truth. Now to lie, that takes
it takes some doing. That takes a skill.
It does. It takes some creativity.
That's a skill.
But anyway, I really love this place. And so when you think about gifts, birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, there's something here for everybody. If you want something really unique, don't get the tie and the socks. Come into the history room and find something really unique that the recipient will really enjoy.
We have people say that all the time, that they come here and they go, well, you have things I've never seen, or I saw like 30, 40, 50 years ago, and you have it. It goes, I like coming here because it's unique. That makes our day. It really does, because I want to be unique. We want people to say, I've never seen anything like it. I love when people come in here and say, wow, it's one of the cleanest, like, shops like this, antique shops, because sometimes they're a little not as clean. So we try to keep it presentable all the time. And Anne does, she lives here. She really does. She's here all the time.
Yeah. Okay, and so here we see some of Anne's handiwork. We have all of these packaged items here. For example, here's something, and it says Antique Boston Area Ale Bottles with Springfield label and short glass mug, $30. And here is one that is really neat too. His class act, it's called vintage, a vintage swanky sniffer. Okay,
Snifter, yeah.
and yep, and a Brazilian silver plate trinket dish, a costume tie rack, in a cigar box, ready to go.
Yeah.
Now,
20 bucks.
look how beautiful that is, and only $20. Okay, so
And she makes them. She makes all these,
and in the sniffer, so you could give this as a gift with a bottle of brandy.
That's the idea. Yeah.
That's the idea. So it's so hard sometimes, isn't it, to find gifts for men? Not a problem. Not a problem. And in the history room. Okay. So.
That's right.
Okay, so this is filled with things
you're
from
on your own.
I'm on my own. Okay, this is filled with things from the 30s and 40s, and we have pressed glass, and we have this is 1950s ware, but this is a typical 1950s design, and and what's interesting is 2, 4, 6, 7. You have 7 dinner plates. Who has 7 dinner plates from the 1950s? No. But Anne DiSantos and John DiSantos, they do. And then the other thing I like is she groups things very often in terms of a color.
This kind of like a historic area with rare books in here, from old books from like 1863. And there's some some cool like tools, certain like old scales and levels and things like that, and manly man type of tools down here. The thing that you look at the pictures through those 2 things. We got those,
Oh, yeah.
You see that I don't even know what they're called.
Yes. They call them viewfinders.
Viewfinders, that's what they're called.
See, sometimes it pays to be old. Okay, and then here's a book, and it says First Lessons, and it's inscribed by an Easton resident, and it's a textbook, and it's from the late 1800s, and it's $12. So wouldn't this be a great gift to give to your teacher at the end of the year? Because she could then show the children how much more advanced their education is, and just see what the kids in the 1800s had for books and learning equipment. Yeah. Okay. So come when you want to find the teacher's gift too. And here is one of your favorite rooms.
Oh, that's this room. I don't have to say anything. This is probably this and the other room. They're both record rooms. This one here is more general music. The other one's more rock in there. And there's always someone in here all the time. And I see it's probably the most popular rooms we have.
Is it? Yeah. Because people are buying vinyl now
like crazy.
Crazy, and it's all coming back, and they're getting turntables, and it's quite something. I also see that you have a whole bunch of rolls for player piano.
Yeah, I have a lot of those. I still like player pianos. They are fun.
I have one.
She does.
And he's promised to come and tune it.
I want to check it out. Okay. But yeah, the records are doing, I think it's the young people are realizing that vinyl sounds better. I'm not just saying that because I'm old, but compared to, listening to just on your phone, when you hear it on a good stereo system, nothing beats it. So you young guys, keep listening to your records. It's better.
That's perfect.
All right. And that's the same room, same idea, except more on the rock side of things.
I got to tell you something. This high chair is exactly like the one that I had when I was a kid. So I know it's from the 1940s.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, this is probably the most popular room in the whole shop because of the, well, we have a lot of records. They're all in good shape, and we try to get some ones that are hard to get. And we have the T-shirts. We always have music playing. Queen's playing right now, one of my favorite groups. And we have a lot of other things, interesting books on artists, musicians. And that's about it. Over here, we have packages that Anne made, musical packages, just like she did out front. She made some nice ones over here with Elvis, a thing on Roger Waters, and Rush, and all kinds of stuff. A lot of stuff, a lot of Elvis stuff. Ann and I both like Elvis. This here is the thrift room.
Thrift room.
it's the room that has the least amount like cost. Like it's something you get at a flea market type of thing. So when we're not sure what to do with it or something odd or maybe not in the best condition, it ends up in here.
Okay.
This room is a throwback room. That's a real throwback room. Yeah, it feels like it's 1963 when you walk in here. This is that. You're really good with years. You're better than me. But what year would you say this room is dedicated to? I think I'm right by saying around 63. Well, you got the Partridge, Partridge family. You got, kind of Mary Poppins. You got Gilligan's Island. Maybe 65, something like that.
Yeah, no, and I would say some of it goes into the 70s.
Really?
I think
I'm some of the games maybe.
Yeah, but no, most of it is. You're right.
We have a lot of magazines, the Superman magazines. We've had a couple of real good ones.
And here's Star Wars.
Oh, that's new. Yeah, I guess we have to expand the years.
Yeah,
keep up with the times. Happy. Yeah.
And look at some of the Game of Thrones. You have a Game of Thrones T-shirt that's really neat. Okay, so we're coming right to the
little magic section. I used to love magic tricks when I was a kid. I loved them. I loved those. My parents would buy me one magic trick when we went to the joke shop. And I'd practice doing the whatever trick it was. Make
now here's a framed baby picture that I've sat for.
Oh, that's you?
Of course.
Well, I'm going to give you that too.
No, you aren't. No, but that's how I looked as a kid. I did.
You haven't changed a bit.
Oh,
the veterans like this room because it's all about war. Right. Well, serving your country type of things over here. Books on the Sea. A lot of this is where all the guys come, and they're usually the veteran guys that come in here. Great old shots, war shots. That goes back to that's the Spanish American. This here is Civil War. This picture here, but they made it back in color. Like, how they take an old picture and they kind of give it the color. I think that's kind of a cool trick. And then there's just all supplies, more books. Painting of this guy here. No one knows who he is. But it's one of the coolest paintings we have. This guy here.
It looks like George Lucas.
It does. It is. Look at with the sleepy eyes. He looks like he's had a long day. Yes, I know.
I wonder who that actually is, though. That's interesting.
We don't know, and I think we tried. I think Annie always tries to do some research on it, but we can't find. And ironically, we've had this a long time. It's almost like people don't want to buy it because they don't know who he is. And it's like, what is this? But it's so interesting. But people come here just to see the picture. Like, he's still here. Yeah, he's probably been here for like 10 years. Just wow. No one.
We can't leave the history room without looking at this magnificent photo that everybody remembers. Well, not everybody remembers literally, but everybody knows about it. And it's a wonderful photograph with a Navy guy kissing a woman when the Second World War was announced in 1945 that it was over. And everybody came to the streets and this one is in Manhattan, and people were screaming and yelling and joyful. So take it away, John.
I'm going to tell you how I got to know George. I actually knew him because a friend of mine, when I was rebuilding this place.
Tell us who George is.
I will. I'm going to tell you who George is. I was building this place and a friend came. It was like midnight. I'm working by myself, getting this place ready. And I had one picture on the wall and it was this. And he says, "Oh, I love that picture." He goes, "Hey, do you want to meet him?" And I thought he was joking. I go, "What do you mean meet him?" He goes, "My father grew up with him. He lives in Rhode Island. He lives in Middleton, Rhode Island." I said, "You're joking." And sure enough, he says, "Oh, I'll arrange it." So all of a sudden, I got in the car, we went down, I got to meet George Mendonça, the kissing sailor, and his wife, Rita. And from then on, I got to know him. I tuned his piano. I had lunch with him. I went there a couple of times. And then I got gutsy and said, "George, how would you like to do like a meet and greet here? Because we just opened this store." And he doesn't drive anymore because he was like 90 at this time. But he says, "Well, if you give me a ride, I'll be glad to be there." So sure enough, we had a line out the door with every woman. He came in here and they loved it. He was so funny and so open. And he was here for 2 hours kissing all the girls and anything. But people don't realize that that famous shot was, you know, the girl who he's kissing is Greta Friedman. She was not a nurse. She was a dental hygienist. Came out to see if the war was over, just out of curiosity. He had been getting a few pops in the bar right across the street over there. Sees her and just grabs her and kisses her. And Eisenstadt, the famous photographer, Alfred Eisenstadt, I believe that was his first name, caught the shot and shot it, did 4 snapshots. And the one that's famous is the second one, because Greta's hand is kind of down. But there are some other ones when she's like this because she's getting assaulted, basically. It wasn't a consensual kiss, but it's the most famous shot. And here's another thing that people don't know, most people don't know, is there was another photographer, Jorgensen, who caught the same, he was right there at the same time too. I guess it must have been quite a scene. And he got a shot, not quite as popular because you don't have, you know, the backdrop that you have in this one of Times Square, but it's still a great shot. And it's just to the right. Yes, it's another shot. But anyway, that's the story of the kissing sailor, and it is George Mendoza. He lived to be 95.
Yeah. Now, what does she
Let's talk
teach?
about that a little bit.
Piano and voice. Yeah, she teaches here. She does it here. That's why she just put a sign up there now. She goes, I want to get a few more students. She has like about 15 students, but she likes teaching. We're going back. I'm teaching. She's teaching. And when I had the music store, we all taught a lot. I mean, I taught 40 students a week, but I think that's why I went crazy. It was a little too much. And it's much better to teach a little bit less, and then you're still happy.
Right.
You know, instead of just
And you have
falling
time
asleep.
for yourself.
Yeah. We called it the factory. It was just like, I mean, when this was the music machine, we had 400 students a week.
But just think, John, how many people you trained.
Oh, I know. And they still tell me because they come in, you taught me. It's like, you're as old as me. You're old, you know, and I taught you. Oh, man, that happens to us all the time.
Yeah.
And then you taught I love this one. The guy comes, yeah, and you taught my father. Oh, taught your father. Oh, God, yeah. We get that. Because a lot of the guys that come in here and the young guys, oh, yeah, my dad knows you taught him. Okay.
Okay, so.
You know, yeah.
Well, John, this was quite a tour, and you have so much stuff, more stuff, interesting stuff, valuable stuff, and quirky stuff that nobody could ever imagine could be in one place called the History Room, located on Depot Street, Southeastern. And it's right opposite the big church. It used to be the Congregational Church. I don't know what it's called now. But right after, now we have lights installed there, and of course the Civil War monument is there. So when you get to that intersection, if you're coming down Center Street, you're going to hang a left, and the History Room is immediately on your right.
That's right.
And if you're coming through the lights on Depot, you go through the lights, and you're immediately there on the right. And there's a big sign that says the History Room. So pull right into the parking lot. John, thank you so much for this wonderful tour.
My pleasure.
It's always so nice to see you and to know that you're alive and well and providing Easton residents and other people visiting with all of these wonderful Easton relics, because there's so much history here from Easton and beyond. So thank you again.
Well, thank you for having me. Thanks for thinking of us. Thank you.
You're so welcome. This is Priscilla Almqist-Olsen. Have a good day. And I hope you've enjoyed this program as much as John and I have enjoyed presenting it to you. Be well.
There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in.